Good morning, everyone. My name is Bella, and I am here for Planet Pathlings. This week's topic is the kitchen witch and kitchen witchery. And so I've put together a few things that are my thoughts and feelings on this line of magic. When I think of the kitchen witch, I dream of images of a cottage in the woods or fields, a hearth in the center of the home for warmth and nourishment of all kinds. I think of the sabbats of Yule, Imbolc, Lanasa, and Mabon. I feel a pull this time of year to go back to the comfort of the home and the modern hearth, the kitchen stove and oven. The smell of freshly baking bread and a hearty stew, a time of crafting, sewing, and gifts. To me, this time of year, after midsummer to spring, is when my kitchen witch screams to be heard and do her thing. How did this line of craft get so maligned? First, what does it truly mean when you say kitchen witch? It is a solitary practice of a form of alchemy and folk magic. It can be a standalone practice, but I see it is infused in almost every practice. The kitchen witch used what they have and turn the mundane into the magical. The alchemist, being an elitist form of magic practiced by the most scholarly and wealthy in society, was out of reach for the average person. Theirs was a practice of the ritual wear, breastplates of the Jewish kings, and the exotic ingredients, looking for transformation of the internal self and the external goods. The kitchen witch was day-to-day survival, love of family and clan, close to nature and the natural forces that kept them alive and thriving. Kitchen witchery evolved by tapping into the forces of nature by learning to understand properties of plants, animals, and stones. Cooking is a form of alchemy, the changing of items into something else. But to be truly witchcraft, it is used with the herbs and the enchantments, used at the right times that made it witchery. Food is nourishment and medicine and magic. No doctors around, the kitchen witch would become the healer as well as the shamanic leader of the home, taking care of the family in mind, body, and soul. The use of herbs in medicinal salves, creams, soaps, cleaners, to the use of charms, sigils, runes, and other magic lent to the protection of person and property. Animal husbandry and gardening among the many skills that needed to be learned. Wool and other animal byproducts turned to spinning, weaving, sewing, knitting, tool making, and all the skills of survival and magic making. Gardening and the skills of preserving food for the lean times, as well as the protecting of the food stores from pests and marauders, was critical too. To me, to be a witch is to have the skills laid before us in the kitchen craft. I wouldn't have a practice today if you removed that aspect from me. I have more formal training as well, but the practical aspects is where the true foundation of the craft is. So why, when I tell someone new into their craft and searching for a line, do they turn their nose up when I say, you're a natural kitchen witch? I think it has everything to do with the feminism, the rise of feminism and the downgrading of the housewife. The two, kitchen witch and housewife, both maligned for much the same reasons. We were sent from our homes by economic hard times, and our inability to trust our partners would stick around for life. You were judged on your outside ability. Self-worth was connected to this. Fortunately, things are shifting somewhat, and some family values are starting to return. Books on kitchen witchery focus on nutrition, and the well-being of the child are playing a part in bringing back respect to the roles in the home. Even the environmental issues that are being in the forefront of the news is taking us back to nature and the health and state of the world around us. As Thanksgiving approaches in the United States, many of us will return to our kitchens and start our old familiar rituals of cooking and gathering in the kitchen. Children will jump up on tall chairs to help make cookie dough, cakes, and pies. Stop and notice these batter-smeared faces licking beaters and spoons. Remember their smiles and laughter, for these are the magical things of the season. You are making magic, and you will live on through their memories, so make them good ones. So what is the difference between cooking and magical cooking? Cooking is intent on making food to feed your household. Magical cooking is focused intent on love, health, prosperity, and much more, to the loved ones you feed, including yourself. It is infused with the intent and emotion. Regular cooking may be done the same way, but without the focused consistency in intent, it is hit or miss depending on the day, the stress, or the time allotted. Focused intent means that you're less likely to serve a meal while angered or flavored with any other negative emotion that could cause harm to your loved ones, unless it's truly your intent. The same goes with every other skill in the household. Intent and emotion equals powerful magic. I wanted to, the other girls have done recipes and that kind of thing, but this week I am preparing to leave for my parents' home because my father's having surgery in the morning. And so I didn't have time to actually perform a recipe on camera for you. So I did want to throw in more personal aspects. That was how I feel on the subject of kitchen witchery. I think it is much maligned, and I think that it is a highly honorable part of our craft, and I do believe that much of our craft, no matter what line you go down, infuses these items in it. I'm not sure that our witchcraft would have the same flair to it without the years that were put in from the beginning of time working its way into our magic today. But I did want to say that I am a working career woman. I am out of my house at least 40 hours a week, if not more, doing such things. And that always left it very hard to be a working mother. Well, now I don't have the family living at home. My children are grown and gone. But it was always a struggle to be able to be outside the home, but inside the home as well. So my kitchen witchery basically revolves around the cooking of nourishing foods, but also infusing that foods with the power of my magic. Every additional herb that I add, a lot of times my recipes are made according to what I have on hand and what the intent I need to infuse with will change up how I do a meal. Such as the old adage of you take one dead chicken. Well, you take one dead chicken and you put it in a pot, and you're going to make a soup. And from that one dead chicken, you can do almost any magical spell. And no matter what way you want to play it, the natural kitchen herbs in your pantry is the way that you perform the spell. That's what will be added to your broth. And even a lot of the fruit, the vegetables, and other things that go into the soup also will become part of that magical workings, because even fruits and vegetables have magical properties to them. So this is how I would do an everyday magic kind of thing. And it doesn't matter whether you put it on your stove, in the hearth fire like they used to do, which means that you can be barbecuing or any form of fire cooking, but also microwaves, crock pots, dehydrators, all of those modern kitchen implements help bring you the magic in your kitchen, but with the speed because of the constraints of our modern times. So, like everything, it's had to evolve, and how it evolves is that we have less time to do certain things. But a coffee grinder can grind down the hardest herbs to an almost finish, but then you can still put it in your mortar and pestle and finish it off with your intent of the grinding. I do believe the old ways help focus intent and put it into what we were doing. So there are ways to shortcut it, but still get that infused intent. So like I said, you could take herbs down in your coffee grinder to a certain point and then finish off the grinding, which wouldn't take as much time, but you can focus your intent in there and make the potion stronger that way. But I believe your magic starts with every thought process that you're going to do to even bring the recipe to fruition. So all of that is part of the magical properties of building a good spell in your food that you are making. Now, Spin did beauty products. She did the scrub. I make, as a sideline business, I make my bath salts. I make hand protectors, and I make lip balms, and I make a variety of other lotions and creams. I make a rose water that I put on my face from rose petals that I make. I make a vitamin C serum with vitamin C crystals and some of the oils that you may find every day in your kitchen. Castor oil is also one of the oils that you can use for your face. There's lots of natural beauty products and things like that, but as you're making them, you would be making them the same way as you make any other magical potion. You're putting your thought processes, your intent, your emotion into it, and it becomes a magical potion. So I do a lot of that, but like Lourdes did in the video with the salve, I also make healing items. I deal in supplements all the time, but I also make a lot of my supplements as well. So I make a turmeric powder, and I make it into what is called a golden tea. And especially this time of year, because I have a shoulder replacement, I tend to take a lot of anti-inflammatories. So the anti-inflammatory herb of turmeric mixed with a half a cup of turmeric powder, a half a cup of water, and then about a fourth of a cup of coconut oil, and then you let that blend together with some black pepper for absorbability factors, and you can store that turmeric powder when you do it over a slow heat. You can put it in a container in your refrigerator, and then you just take a half a teaspoon to a teaspoonful and put it in a hot beverage, and that is called golden tea. And what it is a natural anti-inflammatory. It's very easy to make up. I wouldn't make up anything more than you can use in a week to 2 weeks time, because when it starts getting that metallic taste to it is when it's gone bad. There are many other things that I also make. I have not made my elderberry syrup yet, and elderberry syrup is a very powerful antiviral. It has been tested and proven by the Israeli medical field that the elderberry kills viruses. And so you can buy purchased elderberry syrup at your health food stores, or you can make it yourself out of elderberries as an herbal an herbal that you can actually create yourself. I have not made mine this year, and I need to get started on that because we're well into cold and flu season. There are many different things that we can do. Calendula ointments are also very powerful for the skin, and they're very simple in nature to do, but a lot of different kinds of ways of medicinal things. But of course, each herb is, and when you're doing medicinal herbs, they are powerful medicine and they have to be regarded as that. So you don't want to do it willy-nilly. There is multiple things that I do this time of year. I'm just a little behind because of the running back and forth to my parents' home in these last couple of weeks. So I will be getting started on those tincture making and stuff like that, and I'll be putting future videos up to get them on my channel as well so that y'all can see. I also make a lot of my homemade cleaners as well, and that is also all magically infused. When I make cleaners to do like all-purpose cleaners that I make from vinegar and a little bit of ammonia, and I also add things like orange oil for attraction. I put lemon in some of my cleaners for purification. I put things like Florida water, salt, and different kinds of herbs depending on what magical properties that I am laying down in my house. I will make floor washes to bring in luck, prosperity, or protection depending on what magic I am doing that day when I'm doing my cleaning. So the mundane cleaning tasks become an actual act of magic. Redoing things like putting cinnamon or salt on your window sills, or relaying protection oils that you lay around your home, are all part of kitchen magic. It starts in the kitchen. It's where you perform the act of making it, and then you start using it around the house and property. So there's so many different facets to kitchen witchery. It never should have been maligned. And I am glad to see that it's coming back now that we have to do things like fight things like Monsanto in almost every aspect, trying to remove toxic chemicals and or poisons out of our everyday life. Genetic food modification means that we should be trying to plant a few things in our backyard. Not everybody has time to do a full garden, but almost everybody can plant a cherry tomato or a few herbs here and there in the yard and let it take over so that you can harvest. These are all things of kitchen witchery. These are all old skills coming back, and they're making us healthier and happier. It is also a great way to involve your children and getting them started on things like teaching them how to grow plants and herbs as well, and also teaching them about nature. And there's no end to what kitchen witchery can do. It's a very diverse field of magic. Just like any other form of magic, it goes in many different directions, and there are so many blurred lines that you can't see where kitchen magic stops and goes into the others. It's not just about cooking food for your family. It's by far, it is so much more than that. It is the daily operation of your home, and almost every one of us has a home that we need to upkeep to some degree. And every time we clean our bathrooms, every time we clean our kitchens, every time we sweep and mop our floors, we can be and should be laying down forms of magic to keep our circle, our inner sanctum, holy and full of magic and protection for our loved ones and the people who we allow into our homes. I do believe that when people nowadays are actually starting to do things like cooking for their families and things like that, that even if they're not witches, they do need to be very mindful of how they're cooking their food and stuff, because those things translate into the food because people who aren't witches are still magical. Every intent and thought and emotion that you're having translates to the world around you. And that's why as witches we work to control our thought processes and our emotions and our intent, so that when we do put stuff out there, we are fully intending to do so. Now, we can't be vigilant 100% of the time. We are all human, and that is just the nature of things. But I believe that a witch well on her path is one that immediately takes a step back and puts herself back together to make sure that she is putting out what she really truly wants to be putting out to the universe and to the people that are closest to her, her family. So those are just a few of my thoughts on kitchen witchery. I love the topic this time of year. We're coming up on Thanksgiving, and again, many Thanksgiving blessings to all of y'all out there that are in the United States. And the approaching Yule season is coming for most of us as well in this Western Hemisphere. Is it the upper part? And then Australia has the opposite Sabbat. But I just want to wish everybody a love of the season, because right now there is not a whole lot of love going out there. There's a lot of ugliness in the world. But remember that if you keep your circle positive, that positivity ekes out and goes everywhere, and the world sure could use some more positive vibrations and love at this time. So no better time than the time of the frolicking midsummer down below, or the Yule season right now. It is supposed to be a season of love and renewal. So y'all have a very blessed Wednesday, and I will catch you after we come back from our little sabbatical for the holiday seasons. We may be keeping up videos, but we may not be doing them as frequently through the holiday time. Y'all have a wonderful, blessed day. Bye.